Okay, so we left off at the fact that VS Code is your best option. I wouldn't suggest any other code editor. Um, Again, it's not technically an IDE, and you got different IDEs such as Eclipse and Visual Studios, which is the parent of VS Code, and they focus on a specific or specific programs. Visual Studio focuses on C Sharp as its main um, stable programming language, and then you have .NET and C++, and then you have Eclipse, which focuses on Java. But I would like to give you introductions of what are the different panels that you're going to be working with on VS Code. So on the far left, you have the Explorer, different icons here that you can use, such as the Explorer panel right here. When you click on this, you're able to view the different folders and files that you're going to be working with, and it's pretty simple. It's not that difficult to navigate through it, and I suggest you get acquainted with it because you're going to be using it a lot. And then after that, obviously you got this search icon. It's for finding text across files and folders. It's a it's a very good tool whenever, let's say, you're looking for information about a specific code, such as, let's say, let's look at the layouts, and you go into your index.html and you're looking for a specific div on your site that's giving you problems for whatever is the case. Let's say it has style problems, or the div is incorrectly placed somewhere and you want to look for it. You would go to because you have multiple divs here with multiple different types or different classes, and you want to look for the btn close, this one over here, dialog close. You just let's say you just type it in here, you put that there, and then it shows you all the different places that it's located. You want to go ahead and click on the most possible choice that you're looking for. Click on here, and then there you go. It shows you exactly where it's located. If you want to see if it's JavaScript code, click on the JavaScript one right here, and then it opens up, and there you go. And you're a step closer to finding the corporate, whatever's the problem, and then you can fix it from there. And then you have the GitHub repository icon. Click here. Now this we will eventually configure in the near future, but right now we're just looking at the icons and what they do. The GitHub repository icon is for source control. Whenever you make changes to your source code, such as this over here, if you, let's say, change this from button to something else. So let's say you make changes to this button over here and you give it a different name, button open instead of close. And then the GitHub repository will record those changes. Then you want to go ahead and update and or upload the changes. I think it's commit and commit the changes. Yeah. So yeah, it's definitely commit. So then you got the debug icon. Now the run and debug icon, it's crucial to development. It's it's not something that we're going to focus on now because we're not going straight into debugging mode. That's when you have a large file or a large program with thousands of lines of codes. I think that would be the best way to explain when to use the debugging tool. But I rarely use it because I don't work in large groups, though I have in the past. And it's a very useful, very useful tool. But that's something that we're gonna have to work together with in the near future. And I'm definitely gonna create a video about this in the near future. And the next one is extension. Now this one is very important. This is where you get to download the different extensions that you're gonna use to make your life easier. So we're definitely gonna install some extensions as soon as possible. As of right now, we're just gonna go through the different panels and the different layers of the VS Code graphical user interface. So the main area in the center is where the editor lives. This is where you write your code, where you make changes to your code, update, and debug your code. So this is where you're gonna be working on throughout the most of the time of using VS Code or any editor. It's usually in the editor panel. All right. Um, so you can have multiple files open in different tabs, just like a web browser, and you can split the editor to view files side by side, right? So if you want to split the editor, which it's not something I recommend doing at the moment, but you could definitely split the editor by clicking this icon up here, So when you click here, now you have 2 copies, right? Well, you could look at this file, let's say, and then look at this file over here, and then compare them both and work in different files at the same time. That's the split version of using VS Code. So you want to go ahead and exit that out. So below the editor is the panel area, and when you look at the panel area, it gives you the choice to open the terminal. So you click here, say new terminal, and this opens up over here. And this is where you're going to write certain syntax to run certain scripts in order to install different extensions or plugins or programs, such as npm, which is node. And this is going to be an area that you should get familiar with. It's powered by PowerShell, which is a CMD, which is a command line prompt. So it's very, very important to learn how to, write these different scripts like that. You can start and stop the server. You know, it's just something you're gonna have to get used to in the long term, because if you don't, then you're gonna depend on pressing different icons or you're gonna have to get used to, let's say, like going over here, pressing run, start debugging and stuff like that, when you can easily just write a line of code here, such as npm start, that this will start your server. And then you don't have to really type it anymore. All you have to do is just press the up and down arrow key, and it's ready for you to just run that command, and then it will execute that specific command and have that specific command do what it does. In this case, it starts the server. So I mean, yeah, of course it has the problem solving mechanism, it has the output and debug console tab. Right, you got the debug console tab, the output, the problem solving. Whenever there's an error, this will come out in red or different colors, specifying what errors you have. So then you can debug these errors and do a little technical support to get to the solution you're looking for. So at the very bottom is the status bar showing information about your current files and workspace. And this would be over here. Like for example, over here, this tells you how much your Copilot usage you have left or you've been using, because it's based on tokens. So in my case, I still have practically 90% left. And this is very useful. Sometimes it will show you information that you have to look into, such as, errors and problems or whatnot. So let's say, we could create a file just so you can see how it's created. So for example, if you go to your Explorer, let's say you go over here, you right click here, and you can click on new file, right? And let's say we're going to create an HTML file, which is hypertext markup language. That's a different tutorial or video tutorial that we're going to eventually create in the near future. But HTML is crucial to any website you're creating. Without it, is impossible to create a website. So in this case, we got the index HTML, which is the home page, landing page, hero page. This is where the hero lives. The hero section, whatever else you were creating will be in the front page, which is the index.html. Let's just say text.html. Go over here, and the first thing you want to do is, whenever you're creating a website, is you want to create a specific code block or code snippet. And the way you do that is by let's say apostrophe, do that, and then you press tab, and it creates a boilerplate for you. Now this boilerplate is what all web designers use whenever they begin creating the homepage, as all the crucial tags necessary in order to create a homepage or a website. You got the doc type. This just tells the browser what language or what if it's up to date. HTML5 in this case, that's what we're using. Then you got HTML language, in this case is English. You got the head tag, and this is where all your meta tag lives. The title, and just different contents that is very important. We'll go through this another day, but keep in mind that this is all necessary in order to make a website work. And you got the body. This is where all your content will live. Your contacts, such as, let's say if you want to put like well, we got the title here, but this is for the tab. Then you could create h1 title for title h1. Control C, that's in the wrong place. I'm gonna click here, h1, and obviously the famous hello world, apostrophe, control save. I think you could right click live server, but again, we haven't installed it yet. But I think there's a preview. We haven't installed that either. You have to install it too in order to see the preview. Preview panel will open on the side to show you what the output of h1 hello world is, which is basically a heading. We'll see that in the near future, pretty soon. Just giving you an understanding of what the editor section of VS Code can do for you and will do for you in order to start building these fancy websites that you will eventually be building. So that was basically IntelliSense. So as you write or as you code, it creates an entire, let's say in this case, it created an entire HTML template, and this is called Emmet, and Emmet is a built-in extension that we have. So when we save this file, right, we choose the location and name it, and like I said, I was going to right click on it to then eventually go to live preview, but we don't have it installed. So let's go ahead and install this extension so you can see how it works, how amazing VS Code is when it comes to helping out the developer, proceed in a faster, more efficient way to create websites and applications. So let's go ahead and go to the extensions. All we need to do is go ahead and just type in live server, press enter, and as you can see, we have multiple different extensions here. I would go with the first one. The first choice is usually the original, though this one comes with more options. But I think if you want PHP options, I think you should probably install the PHP version. But then again, I have used this one before, so why don't we just go ahead and install this one. Let me double check and make sure that that's the correct one. Okay, so why don't we go over what extensions are, even though I explained it, but I would like to go into more details. So extensions are what makes VS Code incredibly powerful. So let's go ahead and install the essential ones for web development. So we're going to go ahead and click on extensions right here on the bar, which we already did, right? And so it looks like, obviously, you know what it looks like. So the first thing we want to do is let's install live server. So we already searched for it, and we want to make sure that it's made by Ritwick Day, which has millions of downloads. So let's double check that and make sure that that's correct. And the author's name should be somewhere around here at the top. This guy right here. And then, yeah, this is the original one. So this is the one we're going to install. So let's go ahead and click install. We're going to install this, and then we're going to trust this publisher and install. Shouldn't take much longer. And so, I mean, live server, what it does is it lets you launch a local development server with live reload. So when you save your HTML, CSS, or JavaScript, the browser automatically refreshes. Basically, you don't have to press F5 or do a hard refresh. That's very helpful. So as you type in code, it's making a live changes and updating itself. So you can then view it on your browser, whatever changes you made to the design of your, let's say, landing page, homepage, or the hero section. So now that we downloaded it, we could probably run a little sample of what live server does. I mean, it's nothing crazy. So if we right click now, we have open with live server. If we click here, we're just going to get a simple page. You see? So click here, hello world. Let's set this as default, and that's basically a web page, not necessarily a website, but it's a web page. You could call it a website if it's just a landing page, if you only have one page site. But that's the magic of Live Server. So let's look into another extension. The next extension is Prettier. Now, Prettier is a code formatter. Let's go ahead and look into the search bar real quick. Right here at extensions, you want to go ahead and just type in Prettier here, and we want to make sure we get the correct author. The author that we're looking for right here is definitely Prettier, so we don't have to look any further. It's definitely Prettier, and we're going to click on install. All right, so we do trust the publisher. It's installed already. We'll configure it to format on save in a minute. We want to make sure it's configured to format on save, so when you save it, it formats your code so it can look prettier, hence the name Prettier. So now let's search for auto rename tag. Let's go ahead and click in here. Auto rename tag. This is the official author, not this one. This is official author by Hong Hang. I click on install. It gives you a detailed explanation of what it does. It says it automatically renames pair HTML, XML tags, same as Visual Studio ID does. So let's say if you have an opening div tag, it will then automatically create a closing div tag at the end of your element that you're creating at the moment. Right, so let's see what's the next one that we should download and install. What's the next one is excellent. This checks your JavaScript code for errors and bad practices. So let's go ahead and install it. JavaScript is a main part of creating websites. It makes your websites a lot better visually. It gives you like, you know, certain effects, and it's more of a, it gives you the ability to give your website life, movement, you know, action. So JavaScript is definitely the way to go. So let's go ahead and install this extension so we can make sure that we don't have any errors as we code in JavaScript. I believe that's the, yeah, that's definitely the author of Microsoft. So let's install it. And then the next one for HTML, we're going to install HTML CSS support, which gives you a better autocomplete for CSS classes. So let's go ahead and search this over here. Click here, Control Control V. We're going to HTML CSS support. This is definitely it over here. Yep. We're going to install this. I'm going to install this again. This keeps popping up. I thought there was like an option to keep it from actually popping up all the time. So trust publisher and install. I guess it's a safety mechanism. You don't want to install, you know, we don't want to install a virus or anything like that. Okay, so the next one we're going to do, and this is the last one we're going to install, is path intelligence. This auto-completes file names when you're typing file paths. So let's go ahead and install it. Go over here. And this is just a few extensions that you can install. You can install a lot more. There's a lot more extensions that I'm pretty sure you're going to come across, and you're going to eventually start installing and configuring yourself. So get used to these extensions, and, you know, just sky's the limit. I mean, too many extensions is probably not good, because they eventually start conflicting and, you know, crossing each other's paths, and that might create bugs in your programs. So try to keep it at a minimum. I would say 10 is good, 10 extensions is good, but when you have like 45 extensions, it's pretty common that one or two are not going to agree, and it's going to just create a whole mumbo jumbo, and you're going to have to like uninstall all of them and then install one by one to see where's the culprit, which is the one that's putting those errors out there. Okay, so it's installed. So now, well, I mean, if you work with React, I suggest we also installed this extension here. Let me and we're definitely going to work in React in the future, so I suggest that you do install it like that. You don't have to do it later on. Here it is, and we're going to go ahead and install it, and we do trust the publisher. Okay. So, and just to give you a little synapse of what this extension does, it's actually for Vue. And I think we should just go over this on a separate video, because React is it's quite the it's quite a large program to work with, and it has its own extensions, for Python and Vue and stuff like that. So you can create. I believe this is what we're going to use to create control panels and stuff like that. Maybe maybe I might be wrong on that. It's been a while since I touched React. Sometimes I confuse them with React and Node. But again, as we move along, we'll learn how it works. It's not that difficult. Sometimes I'd be jumping from different languages to languages, and sometimes I confuse them, but we'll definitely get through it. Don't worry about it. It's not that crazy. So we're gonna go ahead and press Control and then comma to open the settings panel, and we're gonna go ahead and search for format on save. So Control comma, right? Just like you would to write comma, period, whatever. Control comma, and this is gonna open your settings, search settings. So we're gonna go ahead and search for we're gonna search for format on save. And here it is. And we want to go ahead and click this, because what we want to do is that we want, like I said, reading is fundamental. Format file on save. That's it. So every time we save, the file is formatted correctly. And that comes from the extension Prettier, I believe. And if you keep on reading, a formatter must be available, which is Prettier, and the editor must not be shutting down. When the file autosave is set to after delay, the file will only be formatted when saved explicitly. Okay, so let's see. Let's see. Let's go ahead and customize, and also let's give some productivity tips. So let's customize VS Code to boost your productivity, right? So we're gonna go ahead and press Control Shift P, and this is gonna open the command palette, right? This is like a search box for every action VS Code can do. It's incredibly powerful. So first, let's change the theme. So we're gonna go ahead and type color theme. So press Control Shift P, Control Shift P, and we're gonna go ahead and look for color theme. I believe this is it right here. So we're gonna go ahead and and we're gonna choose Dark Plus or Dark Pro. You can also install them, the theme extensions. So let's search for material theme. You know what? Let me see what choices we can choose from here. And I like the dark one though. So let's choose the Dark Plus, which is probably the one we're using. And this one is a little more brighter. Let's keep that one for now. So now we might change it later. I don't think I like that one. Let me see. Control Shift P, color themes. Let me see the light one. Yeah, that one I definitely don't like. Control Shift P, way too much light, too bright. Let's see what this one does. Yeah, that's probably the one I like. Let's keep it right there. So now for some productivity tips, multi-cursor editing. You can hold Alt and click multiple places in your code. You have multiple cursors. So let's go back to our Explorer over here, and we're gonna go here. So if you were to press or hold Alt and then click multiple lines of code. So if you go up or down, in this case down, oh, this actually moves the line of code. So meta char set will move down or up depending on the arrow that you click on. In this case, I was pressing arrows, but I'm supposed to click a specific line of code in order for it to take effect. So if you click Alt and then you click on, see, now you can write multiple lines at the same time. Let's say you put a p tag here. See, it creates a opening and closing p tag. That's what your extension over here is doing for us. Let's X this. This is what this extension is doing. Auto rename tag. It automatically created a closing tag for the p tag while we were using the multiple line selector. All right. So let's go ahead and press Control C. This is another tip. This would undo any changes you made. Now you want to press escape to get rid of the multiple line selector, right? So let's see. I believe you can press Control D. Let's see what that one does. Control D. Let me alt and click and see what happens. And then Control D. Yeah, I'm not gonna go too crazy about all these different shortcut keywords. All right. So if you want to move a line up and down, I already showed you that. It's Alt plus up or down. If you want to comment something, you press Control plus forward slash. In this case, let's say if we want to comment this part out, Control forward slash, and it's commented out like that. The editor does not take it as code, but just comment something for the developer to use for his or her future reference. Thank you for joining me. It was a pleasure working with you guys. I see you guys in the next video.